Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another edition of Movies That Move With. It's been a while. Well, it's been one episode since they've seen you. It just feels that long.
Yeah, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Since we filmed.
Yeah, it has. Okay, so today we're talking about The Blackening. This is a comedy, horror, spoof type movie.
I want to say spoof, but I would say it's like a comedy. It's kind of giving like Haunted Mansion without the spoof.
Okay.
Or it wasn't called Haunted Mansion. It was called with the Marlon Brothers. It was called
Wasn't that Scary Movie?
It was called, I think it was called A Haunted House, okay. But it was basically like a spoof of Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
But this movie wasn't really giving me a spoof. It was definitely its own story.
Well, the reason why I say it's a spoof is because it's leaning into all the corny stuff that happens in horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
People splitting up, people being trapped in a house together in the woods, splitting up, getting attacked on either end, trying to figure out what's happening, trying to save that one friend. It leans into all of those things. All of those things happen in this movie. Now, we're going to try and do this without giving away the vendetta that's driving the story. Because once you find out what it is, you'll be laid out on the floor because it's stupid. It's just flat out stupid, but I also understand the reason. So when we talk about tropes, let me give you the definition of a trope if you don't know what that is. It's in literature and in film, the concept, you start over, the repetitive use of a word, plot, device, theme, or image or figure by the writers of the film. So, as we started saying, this takes place at a B&B in the woods. A group of 9 Black friends from college get together and they're celebrating Juneteenth. That's your setting. When 7 of the friends arrive, they can't find the organizers. They get a message saying, hey, we'll be there later. And then shortly after that, that's when all hell breaks loose, right? And so some of the tropes that they lean into start with the characters. You got an all-black cast. And in every horror movie, there's usually that one Black person that dies within the first 15 minutes. Spoiler alert, a Black guy dies within the first 15 minutes of the movie. So if you look at the movie poster, it says, we can't all die first. Because what do you do when you have a whole group of black people? Who are you going to kill first? How do you decide that? And so they took care of that right from the rip. Okay, but then as far as the cast of characters goes, you got your tall, dark and handsome guy.
Mm-hmm.
You got the gay sidekick friend. You got the sassy, loud, outspoken friend. You got your Black nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Your Black Republican. You got, who did I miss?
The mixed chick.
Oh yeah, the mixed chick. And the professional. Okay, so you have all of these people in the mix, and their skills. And the guy who's married to the white girl, the Black guy married to the white girl.
He was basically like ex-gangster trying to reform himself.
Former gangster turned namaste.
He's giving Kanye vibes. Like that's what he was giving. Like
no, that wasn't Kanye.
It was
that
to
was
me.
Not Kanye.
He switched sides very quickly.
Okay. So anyway, what happens is there's a game room. What movie was that they had to play the game?
It's Saw.
Mm-hmm. So they had to play a game in order to live. And the game that they played was called The Blackening. And they had to answer questions about Black culture. They had to answer 10 questions in order to save one of the members of the party.
Would you like to give an example of one of those questions that you
know what?
Wrong?
Don't you start with me.
It makes no sense because you were on this earth longer than me and didn't know the answer to this.
You're about to get slapped on camera. Anyway, one of the questions was, how long did the dark-skinned Aunt Viv play that role until they got the light-skinned Aunt Viv? I thought it was 2 seasons.
I can't believe you didn't know that. She was over here saying 1 season. I said
one
no.
or 2. I was like, it was 1 or 2 seasons.
Once she had Nikki, because she was dark Aunt Skin Viv was pregnant the whole time, and then once Nikki, first of all, Nikki became like 5 overnight. That was the other thing. Once Nikki was born, or like once he was actually like walking around talking and everything else, it was like basically light skin Aunt Viv showed up. So that's why I was like, no, it had to be like 3 seasons. Because like, Will wasn't even in college, or he was in college when Nikki was born.
In my defense, 1 is very close to 3. Anyway, that was one of the questions.
Like, I was like, what?
And I did admit that I would have gotten us killed. Okay, another question was, name 5 Black characters that were in the series Friends. And they named 5 Black characters. And they got the answer wrong.
I would have been like,
I wouldn't have been. Look, Alicia Taylor was the only one I knew.
I only watched like a few episodes of that show, and I would not have known that at all.
Yeah, Alicia Taylor was the only one. I know more about the suit Nazi than I do any other Black character that they played. But anyway, they got that wrong. They got it wrong because the correct answer was, I never watched that show. I watched In Living Color.
I know, it was Living Single.
Living Single. Look, Living Single and Living Color, either or. You watch something other than Friends, period. So, they weren't shy about talking about the things that make a Black person Black, who's the blackest and why. All of those things were touched on. They touched on Black people and how they engage with law enforcement, because there was a white cop. There was a white law enforcement representative. Mm-hmm. And when he showed up to help them out, white savior trope, they were like, we don't trust you. Whatever weapons they had in their hand, they dropped, and they said, we don't trust you. Mm-hmm. But we gonna comply.
That part.
So they hit on a lot of different things, a lot of different stereotypical tropes. The mixed chick. Okay, first of all, they had drugs. If you have issues with drugs, bypass this movie. So they had drugs. They were getting high, having a good time. Yes, including the professional. And one girl took the wrong thing. As a matter of fact, it was a mixed chick.
She took the Adderall instead of, what was it they bought them? They bought Molly with them, but she accidentally took mushrooms.
The one girl, the sassy Black girl, she had the Adderall. It was a prescription. She had it legally, but she was sharing it illegally.
Because I think she was trying to give them something to like calm down, and it's like Adderall.
No, you got to remember, a couple of people had been shot by then.
Oh yeah, it was a pain pill.
They needed a painkiller.
And she gonna pull that out of her purse.
Adderall. So anyway, sis is high as a kite, hiding in the woods. Everyone's trying to run away, and she's like, "No, I think I'm gonna sit down." And then, just as things are about to hit the fan, she puts on war paint and goes ham. There's always something like that. The quiet one, the one you least expect, all of a sudden becomes a hero. So I'm not going to give away how it ended, how many Black people were left standing at the end. I will say that they kind of left room for a sequel, which I'd want to see, because this movie was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I'm
actually
kind of disappointed that it wasn't advertised more, because I feel like it would have been something that would have been entertaining to go see with friends or something like that. Like, it would have been something good like that. It kind of gave me like, it gave me scary movie vibes. It just wasn't as like I feel like scary movie, they make it like apparent that, oh, this is about, or it's reflecting or mirroring other scary movies throughout the whole film. But this wasn't like that, but it was so good. If anything, it reminded me more of Haunted House with what's his name in it, with Marlon Wayans. Like, it gave me that vibe. But like, I don't know, I love to see films like this, because it's like, to see all them black people just come together and just, I don't know, it was just nice. It was also giving me like the Black Lady sketch show. It was like, and I feel like a lot of the actors that are in that movie were in that show, or at least some of them, because I feel like,
what's her name? Is it Michelle Orgy?
No, Yvonne Orgy. Yeah, she was. I think she's in it, because Issa Rae does the whole thing, I think, or she's one of the producers on there. The mixed girl, I think she was a character on there.
Okay.
Grace Byers. I feel like Ex Mayo was on there too. Yvonne Orgy. I hope I'm saying that right.
Jay Farrell was in this. Yeah, he was doing his
Cinqua Wallace, the African guy. He was actually in that movie, White Men Jump or something like that.
White Men Can't Jump. The remake.
The remake. He was in that. That's where I've seen him from. But I feel like I think he was in Dear White People too, if I'm not mistaken. Him and the professional, the lawyer chick, they were both in that show, I think.
So these aren't unfamiliar faces. This casting is reminding me of like the way films were cast in the 90s, early 2000s, where every black film had like Taraji P. Henson, Sanaa Lathan. Basically, think of the whole cast of like Love and Basketball. What's the one we just watched? Holiday. The Best Man. Those types of films. I think this is like the new Black Pack, if you want to call it that. This was directed by the directors of Ride Along, Barbershop, and one of the co-writers from Girls Trip. Open up your list again. But it's like all of this, I think, came together nicely. Like Zenny said, I wish that this had gotten more promotion. Their promotional period was really long, because they started this back in January, promoting the film. They started promoting this like in the winter in theaters, but I didn't see a whole lot of advertisement on TV. So,
and apparently it's saying TIFF. I don't know what that represents, but it's saying it was actually released September 16th of 2022, but then got released here in the United States.
So probably Toronto Film Festival.
Oh, the film festival.
Yeah. So, and that's usually how movies go. They're released first at a film festival, and then they get all their accolades and awards, and then they can promote in the U.S. anyway by the following year. So, no, honestly, out of a scale 1 to 5, I give this a 5. I think it's a great movie. This isn't supposed to be anything serious. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying to beat home any hard-driven messages about black folks and black interaction. If you've been black one day in your life, you understand that we're going to make fun of the things we do. We crack jokes about our toxic. And that's exactly what this movie did. The whole thing about, oh, I'm going to revoke your black card. We say that type of stuff to each other all the time, but we understand what it means. Is, look, there's some cultural things you need to learn about in order to fully be a part of this space. And at the same time, it's not taken so seriously where we're kicking people out of the family because you don't know all the things. Although I did just...
It literally was just like game night gone bad. That's like what it was.
Right. So this is about to leave theaters. You may still be able to find it in some theaters in your local area, but it's already available for purpose. I cannot talk today. Purchase. I need to slow down. Available for purchase and rent. So check your streaming channels or wherever you buy your digital films.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's all we have today. Don't go to any houses and cabins in the woods. Don't do that. It's not what we do. And, enjoy your week. We'll be back next week with another great film to review. So until then, bye.
Bye.